Here's how you make some easy breadcrumbs so you can turn your stale bread into kitchen gold. I have my bread weapons. Then I'm gonna put it into a blender or a food processor, pulse it, blend, pause, blend, like this. Now you can see that there's a ton of different size chunks in here. The reason is I did not make all of the pieces going into the blender the same size. Pulsing helps mix the elements, because if you're running the blender, you'll notice that the tiny bits fall to the bottom and they just keep getting smaller, but the big pieces will stay at the top and then they just stay big. Take out the big pieces, and then for the next round, we're gonna pre-cut and make sure that they're all the same size. This is what my pieces look like onto a baking sheet. Another reason you want ideally your breadcrumbs to be roughly the same size is so that they dry out the same way. Otherwise you'll get some that just like stay stale and some that are really dry. This time I have them in roughly the same size chunks. If your bread was rock hard like mine, this is actually a fairly loud process. Regardless, we have our breadcrumbs into the oven, which I have preheated to 350, and I'm gonna turn off the oven and let it just dehydrate in there for half an hour to 45 minutes. Don't need to re-bake, it's already done. We're just trying to take all the moisture out so that they are easier to keep. Around halfway through them drying out in the oven, I'll probably give them a little stir just to give everybody a little bit of warm air action. This is what they should look like after. They shouldn't be dark brown unless you like them that way. Should also feel dry and crunchy underneath your fingertips. If they still feel stale or moist in any way, moisture is what allows fungal friends, fungi, to grow in this. So making sure it's super dry is your #1 goal. I'm gonna let mine cool off 100% because I don't want any steam from the heat. And then I'm going to put them in a freezer bag, and you can definitely keep them in the freezer for up to 3 months. Otherwise you can keep them in the fridge or on the counter as long as they're in an airtight container. You also could add some seasoning to these. I like to keep mine plain and then add the seasoning as I'm cooking. But one idea is for every cup of breadcrumbs, you could put half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of garlic powder and a tablespoon of Italian herb blend. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy baking and cooking.